Hey, gun people, we're going to talk about restraining orders. And like I can tell the ant bed, I got to be on this side of the barn to block the wind because the wind's blowing out here. So, restraining orders, domestic violence. This topic's kind of got two sides. I'm going to probably piss off both sides like I normally do, but I've got a couple questions about restraining orders, and I just read where this lady was killed after she got a restraining order because she was waiting to get her permit to get a gun. And it was in New Jersey, and she couldn't get her gun, you know, because they got crazy liberals running the place with gun laws and all this crap, so she couldn't even go buy a gun without getting a permit to buy a gun, and she had to wait. And you know, the day after she checked to see what her permit was doing, of course the government was too busy, we're overworked, we need more money, blah, same old stuff. She didn't get a gun, crazy boyfriend came back and killed her. So she's dead. So now they're trying to pass a law that if you get a restraining order, it puts you on a fast track to get a gun permit. Now look, I've told everybody this time and time again. If you don't have a gun, you should go get a gun. You don't want to wait till you need a gun to go get it. That's what all these waiting periods are for the government. They're always like, oh, we want people to wait so they can have a cool-off period. We want them to think about getting a gun. You know what? Even if you don't ever need a gun, it's better to have it and not need it. So, I mean, I'm always telling people, go get you a gun, train, practice with it, even if you don't need it, even if you think you'll never need it. Go through the hoops, do what you need to do now when there's not a crisis, because crises happen. I mean, whether it's a riot, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's a fall down to family, whether some crazy guy happens to pick you, you can't control how crises come in your lives. So waiting until the crisis comes to go get a gun, it is a fool's play, and it's a way to be a victim. You know, you're out there, if you're waiting to go get a gun, then you're just a victim out there looking for a place to happen, and it's going to happen. So, now, a restraining order, people think, oh, it's a protection. I got this restraining order. Look here, I've seen so many people hurt, injured, and violated restraining orders. A restraining order is nothing but a court order. It's not even really breaking the law. It's breaking an order, which the law is you can't violate an order. So I mean, it's one of those, a restraining order, protective orders, they kind of cross over between civil and criminal. And civil law usually handles what's called family law, domestic problems, divorce, child custody issues, division of assets. All that is usually handled on the civil side of the legal system. Restraining orders combine the legal and criminal system. So if you go to a family court judge and says, I want a protective order from this guy, I just don't want him bother me, I don't want to talk to him, I don't want him showing up at my work, I just don't want to see him. The civil judge can issue a protective order, and it's not in the criminal side of the law, which is better for the guy and the person because it doesn't escalate it. But once that person violates that order, now this family civil side is moved to the criminal side of the law. And once you get in the criminal side of the law, you lose all power and control. On the civil side, you can ask the judge to give you an order, and the judge can do it, and you're pretty much the complainant, and you're in charge of that. You can say, okay, you know, we've worked things out, I don't need that protective anymore, I'd like it canceled. And the judge will go, okay, you're the one that asked it, if you're asking for it to be removed, I'll remove it. Once it gets into the criminal side, you have all loss of power. Nothing is up to you. It all transfers to the government, and the DA, the prosecutor, city attorney, whoever it is that prosecutes crime, he has all the power, he or she has all the power to prosecute you, to make you witness against the guy. It just takes all the power. I mean, when I first started law enforcement was more, you know, husband and wives. It's kind of a religious, it's more faith-based, it's more, marriage is not so much the state's business. Of course, like everything, the government and the state has moved in and taken over everything. So now marriage is the state's business. Everything is the state's business, and the government wants in your lives, because once they get in, they know they can fine you, they can penalize you, they can get more taxes, they get your system, they can have legal fees. It supports the court, so they can have more court and judges, and they can have more lawyers, and they need more prosecutors, and they need more investigators for the prosecutors. So the government is an entity that just keeps continuing to grow, and it wants to support itself and grow itself. So I've said it 1,000 times, nothing good comes from the government getting involved. And I'm saying this from a government guy. I've been in the military and in cop work my whole adult life. I'm telling you, when the government gets involved, it's bad news for the people that they're involved with. Always. Never does it happen, oh man, the government was my savior. You might have one side thinking that, but the other side absolutely doesn't agree with it. So, protective orders are nothing but a court order. It's a piece of paper. It doesn't stop anything. I mean, I just don't understand how much-minded liberals can convince people that if you get this restraining order, you're protective. If you have a phone and you can dial 911, you're protected. You don't need a gun because you can dial 911. You got a protective order. You don't need a gun. The government will protect you. We'll take care of you. And I say it again and again, if you look at every situation where there's been riots and unrest, the cops stop coming in, 911 gets overwhelmed, they stop sending officers. Hell, there didn't even have to be a riot. Like I said, when I worked down with Stockton Police Department in California, they were so busy and had so much crime that they would not come when you called 911 unless it was a felony, aggressive, violent call in progress. If it was out of progress, you still wouldn't get a cop. So if you just got robbed, a guy came in, robbed you, and left, and took all your money and tied you up, and then you called 911, it's not a violent felony in progress. Stockton Police, we're not coming. So, you know, all this talk about great government and we should raise our taxes so when you give government the ability to provide your protection, you give them the ability to remove that protection. You do not have control. Restraining orders do not keep you safe. They give you a perception of safety. They give you a perception of protection, but it doesn't protect you. People who are pissed off, violent, acting out of emotion, anger, the fact that you're applying for a restraining order because you're dealing with an aggressive, crazy, irrational, unreasonable person, and you're going to the government to get help, that fact alone should tell you that this piece of paper means absolutely nothing to the person you're dealing with. Now, unfortunately, the restraining order system is abused by women 90% of the time. It's ridiculous because women have complete control over the system. They know how to play the victim. They know how to milk the system. There's all kind of women groups, advocacy groups out there to teach them how to manipulate the system and to screw the guy over. So, you know, in this day and age, I tell people, you got to be crazy to get married. You really do, because marriage is nothing but the state getting you. You got name changes, you got legal issues, you got separation issues, you got to go through the court for divorce, the government gets involved. I mean, there's just all kind of issues from getting married nowadays. It's just not in the best interest. Getting in a relationship now is becoming a negative thing, because if once you enter a dating relationship, you give your partner, male or female, the ability to totally screw up your entire life. And people are, oh, right, you're overreacting. I'm telling you, man, I have seen hundreds of people's lives destroyed because they pissed off who they were in love with. And now it's anger and bitterness and vindictiveness and pettiness and spitefulness. And now they get the government, and the government becomes their big hammer to smash the other party. So right now, if I don't like you, I got something against you, and I can't really do anything about it, I can go lie to the court, say we're in a dating relationship. I don't care if you're a guy or female. I can say, hey, he's my boyfriend. We're in a dating relationship. We were dated for 2 weeks. We slept together, and now you pushed me. And I'm in fear of my life, and I want a restraining order. Because a restraining order is pretty simple to get. Now, I want to get this out before I get off on some other thing, and I run out of time here. I'm not telling you not to get a restraining order if you really need one. Because what a restraining order does do is it gives the cops more ability to help you and protect you. If a guy's coming over to your house harassing you, you're calling the cops, come make him leave, he's banging on the door, he's drunk, he's doing this, and you call the cops several times and you don't go get a restraining order, there's only so much a cop can do. The guy can come back, as long as he leaves before I get there, he's done. He can come back 20 times and I can't really do nothing about it. But once you get that restraining order, once he commits a crime that he's violated a court order and he's deemed dangerous or more aggressive, now I can put out a warrant, I can actively look for him, I can open a case on him. I can do more as a cop if you have a restraining order. Again, back to the other side. Vindictive people, mainly women, I mean, I've seen them slap themselves, I've seen them slam a door on their hand, I've seen them, and they all admit this later, they did it when they fall back in love with a guy, 2 days later when he's in jail or whatever. But the lies and the stuff, and there's no, if I get a restraining order on you, that doesn't mean you can't violate it. And I think that's a huge problem with the law. If I go get a restraining order, I should not be able to violate that restraining order. But this happens all the time. Women get restraining orders on their guys because they're pissed, because now they have all the control that anytime they want, they can let the guy come over, not call the cops, not say anything, and then anytime they want, they can pull that card out and go, you violated a restraining order, I'm sending you to jail, I'm calling the cops. And you go to jail. So the restraining order is probably the most abused, the most non-effective thing that we have out there in the system. And if you talk to a liberal or government, they're going to swear that, it's the greatest thing since sliced butter. Look, you are responsible for your own protection of you, your kids, your safety. And if you give it to the government or you give it to police or you think I'm going to come in there, and I've said this before also, and people don't realize this, and they want to get mad at me for telling the truth, but when you call the cops, I don't have to come. I don't have to be in a hurry. If you call the cops and I don't feel like coming, I can stop a car for committing a traffic violation and it's called a preempt. Preempt the call, I'm on a stop. And they got to send somebody else farther away. And if that person don't want to come, they call it dodging a call, because sometimes when you get a bucket call, not a lot of cops like to take rapes. Rapes become what we call a bucket call. It's just a big bucket and it keeps getting filled up and you dump it and it fills up again and you dump it and it fills up again. It's just an ongoing thing, because as you start investigating it, you start collecting evidence. You usually have multiple crime scenes. The crime scene can move. We had sex in the car. We had this. I'm collecting DNA. I mean, it just becomes a big bucket. And a lot of cops don't like to take, especially veteran cops, don't like to take rape calls because they're big paper calls. They involve a lot of investigation, a lot of paper, a lot of time, going to the hospital. There's just a whole bunch of work in a rape case. A lot of cops don't like burglary calls because they don't want to deal with it. So, depending on the call and how much paper it is, a cheesy cop who doesn't have what we call beat integrity, if it's your beat, you're supposed to take your paper. You're responsible for it. But if cops will say you don't have beat integrity. Every time you get a shitty call that you don't want to take where it involves a lot of paper, you go out on a traffic stop or you're out on a follow-up or you see something, hey, I just on-viewed a guy messing with a car, I'm going to contact him. So, and now someone else has to pick up your paper if it's a pending call. If a sergeant's paying attention, he'll stop that and he'll do it, just sometimes dispatch a complaint. But you need to realize cops have no duty to act. If I get to your house and I'm in front of the house, and there's a lot of cops out there that what I don't think are good cops, and I think they're kind of pussies, that will get to the house and be like, you know what, there's a guy in there with a knife, I'm not going in, it's not safe. Most police departments' policy, every department I've ever worked for, forbids an officer to go into a violent situation by himself. You must wait for at least one, depending on the call, you have to wait for 3 officers. So now you're dialing 911 thinking you're going to get help. Not only are you waiting for the first cop to get there, but he may be waiting for 2 other cops to get there. Because it's policy, because they don't want to get sued, because they don't want one guy going in. They don't want the cop getting hurt. They don't want the cop losing his gun. School shootings. When there's a school shooting and kids are getting in there shot and there's all kind of calls, by policy, if I get there within a minute of that shooting, I cannot go in and protect those kids and take that guy out. Okay? Or I violate policy. And you know what? If I was there, I'm going in. That's just me. I'll take the policy hit. I'm not going to stand outside like a freaking coward while kids are getting slaughtered by some dude with a gun. I'm going in. But by law, by policy, I'm going to get heat for that, because most cops, we're into following orders, being a team player. You know, you got to follow orders. You're going to face discipline. You're going to get discipline. They will not go into a violent situation unless they have 2 or more officers. So, you know, it may sound like I'm bashing restraining orders. It may sound like I'm bashing the system. I am bashing them. They are a joke. And if you plan your safety and your life on that piece of paper, then you're a fool and you're a victim looking for a place to happen. I mean, I'm sorry. Do not waste your, I'm not saying don't waste your time to get one, because like I said, it helps the cops do more. But don't waste your time thinking that's all I need to do and that's going to protect me. You know, you're responsible for your own protection. If you think a kitchen knife is going to stop some guy, and you know, I tell women this all the time, they're like, oh, I know a lot of women who can bench press 400 pounds and they can take out any... Look, the fact is, most women can't take on a guy, and a guy's going to overpower you. A guy's more aggressive, he's more ruthless, he's usually stronger, and he's going to overpower you. Now, you can holler this he-man women, and women are great, and women are equal, and how dare you say this sexist comment that women need men to protect them. Look, you can believe what you want. I'm just telling you reality. Most cases that I went to, I didn't see too many, I don't think I've ever seen one where a woman has beat up and overpowered a guy that he didn't let him, because he just didn't fight back. I've never, in all my law enforcement, seen a woman beat up a guy. Now, I did have a buddy of mine who called me up one night when I was taking a shotgun because his wife shot a hole in his door, tried to kill him because he looked at another girl or something. So well, I'll put that in the crazy cop story list. But anyway, restraining orders, they're pretty easy to get. Go online for your state. They're all different. Basically, usually all you have to do is show fear and a potentially, prior violence, a potential violence, potential fear, and you know, again, the abuse on restraining orders, it's so easy to lie. I mean, anybody can go in there and say, I'm scared of him. He's been verbally abusing me. He's been mean to me. He calls me names. He locks me in the room. We had sex 3 weeks ago, and in the middle of sex, I said I wanted to stop, and no, and he didn't stop. So technically, he raped me. So now we got to take a rape report because she's pissed off at you, and she knows that you're leaving. So now she's going to take the kids from you. She's going to get a restraining order on you. She's going to make sure that if you carry a gun or have guns, that you lose your guns because you get a restraining order. She's going to totally take away your life. The bad side to restraining order is sometimes these women play this restraining order card, and they play this vindictive, and they just screw a guy over. And the problem with that is an old Bob Dylan song, when you ain't got nothing, you got nothing to lose. I have seen restraining orders push guys over the end and go, you know what? She just ruined my life. I don't care. I'm going to kill her and I'm going to kill myself. See it all the time. Research it. Guys are always killing their spouses and then shooting themselves. When you push a guy and you're just totally ruin his life, because whether it's true or not, when you get the government involved and he realizes he's crushed, he's got a warrant out for him, the cops are chasing him, he can't go to work, he's got his car towed, you're trying to take away his guns, he can't go hunting, you're taking away his whole livelihood or anything that he cares about, and then you expect him to go, oh, well, she's got a restraining order, I guess I'll just stay away and go about my business and just live my ruined life without doing anything about it. Yeah, I've seen that backfire several times. I'm not promoting it, I'm not saying it's right, I'm just telling you reality. People don't want to hear the truth nowadays because they'd rather have it sugar-coated and smooth, but I'm telling you, when you get a restraining order and it's not justified, or you start lying and you start pushing a guy to the point he feels that he has nothing to lose, or he has nothing, then he's got nothing to lose. And that makes you a bigger target. So, you know what? If you have a gun, you go out and you get your permit, you're able to defend yourself. He knows that. That's good safety for you. You know how to use your gun. You feel better. You're able to protect yourself. You're not relying on a 911 call where cops are waiting on the corner calling staging. I'll be staging around the block waiting for other officers. You never know that. Used to be able to, we could listen to cop calls. Now cop calls are mostly all encrypted up so you can't hear what cops are saying. And even if you can hear it, we have the little desktop computers that we can text message each other basically from car to car, and you'll never know it. So I can text message you so it doesn't come over the air and go, Hey man, I'm here. I'll be having a cup of coffee and eating my donut until you get here. Oh man, I'm about 10 minutes out. Okay. 911 update. Hey, she's screaming. The guy's in her room. He's got the cord around her neck. I can hear her gurgling. 10-4. I'm staging, waiting for another officer. Now, people don't want to hear that, and they think I'm making this shit up, but you ask any cop, and he's going to tell you that's their policy. We can't go in without additional officers. Now, if you're in a big city with a lot of officers, where you can get 2 officers quick, you may not notice it. But if there's a lot going on in a city, if there's riots, if there's a bank robbery, if there's a major accident with a couple of deaths, if there's other stuff going on, there's a lot of other officers pulled away. And your call has to be a higher priority than those calls in order for you to get somebody to come save you, to protect you, to enforce your protective order. The other thing about protective orders is a lot of people think I can just run and get a protective order and then I can get the guy arrested. I can't arrest a guy, I can't arrest you for violating an order unless you've been served with that order. So getting the person served is as important as getting the order. I've seen a lot of women go out and get restraining orders and they never served a guy, never worry about serving. So the guy gets to come back, and that one time he comes back, they either beat their ass or kill him, and they were never served with a restraining order. Whereas if they would have got him served, sometimes you got to pay a process server, sometimes you can have the cops if you know where he's at. You know, if I was a cop and somebody pulled me over and goes, hey, I got the restraining order, the guy's in there, and I thought it was legit, I'll say, I'll go serve for you. I'm not going to charge you. I mean, you know, they have guys do it off duty for 20 bucks or 40 bucks, and they have process serve. Look, and technically some agencies are like, we don't want you serving restraining orders, we want you on the road serving. If they want a restraining order served, then they need to pay somebody or go hire somebody. We're not their personal service. So again, government crapping on the people and the citizens. As a cop, when I was working, if somebody asked me to file a restraining order and a guy was there, I'd absolutely file it. It's not that big of a deal. Now, if I'm already at your house and you tell me you have a restraining order and the guy shows up, obviously I'm going to serve him. I'm there. It's easy. It's not any extra work. That's going to be within policy. That's going to be fine. But don't bet your whole life and your kids' lives and your whole safety on a piece of paper that says, this judge signed this saying you can't touch this person. Really? You're already dealing with a violent, crazy person because you're asking for a restraining order. And now you're thinking that that's going to matter to the person? Now, if it's fake and you don't care and you're just trying to screw them over, that's why restraining orders get all the time. That's no big deal. But, you know, restraining orders, domestic violence, it is what it is. It's abused. It's not what they want you to believe it is. And, you know, that's my spiel on restraining orders, domestic violence, and all that other stuff. We'll end that there.